Yeah, hello. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Romanpuss here, going over the best supports and some of the better options that you have that you can get in One Piece Bounders. Now, there's an infinite number of combinations that you can get. I'm going to go over some of the best. I'm sure there are several others that I may or may not miss because there's so many that you can do, but it's really just depending on what you're playing and what you're going for. So we'll go over a few things that are ideal and optimal and go from there. So first things first, let's get into the ones that I primarily use on a daily basis. Okay, the first up is my red team. Now these vary depending on if I'm primarily playing attacker or defender. Runners is niche as I don't usually go for the runner tag, but I will always have attacker, runner, or defender tags in there. So this is my base kind of defender red set. So this is what I'm running. I love the Zoans. We love lots of Zoans. We love Grand Line. As you'll notice, I got my Queens on my hyper boosted. These are generally pretty solid start. Okay, now I'm just picking up units where I don't want to be. So that's honestly just 3. It's really not that insane. It's not that crazy. So just having like 6 tags is what you want, because the benefits that you get for having 6 tags jumps drastically. Look at, you go from 80 defense to 200. So that's a huge jump as it is right there. Next, we have our green. I'm going to go over this one. We have attacker, Zoan, captain, New World, Animal Kingdom. Honestly, the Animal Kingdom is just there because that's just how it worked out. That's not even needed or necessary, but it works really well. So green support actually is much better now than it was in historically, and it wasn't as good because Blackbeard was actually destroying all of it in the very first year, but green has come a long way since the very first year of One Piece Bounty Rush. The second one is kind of a different red team that I can run. Still not exactly insane, just attacker, Zoan, New World. There's different options you can run. If you want to go like worst gen, definitely has a lot of combinations that you can go. So if you go red, worst generation, there are a lot of different opportunities that you can go there, and we'll get into that later in the video. Next is another one that is one of my main staples, is the blue warlords. So this one always just stays in here. If I ever run into a character, this is actually a phenomenal support. I have attacker, 7 warlords, Paramecia, captain, New World, and a good chunk of straw hats on top of that. So and 4 Grand Line even. Like, this actually has so much going for it. It really works well. And I really, truly love this support. It's very offensive and very good for people who status effect. Because for those of you that don't know, 7 Warlords of the Sea increases the time that you have status effects. So it allows you to keep someone like tremored or singed longer than you would normally by 30%, and it actually goes a really, really long way. So that's one of my favorite supports. Blue supports are the most, I would say, versatile, as they have a lot of step ups and stuff and a lot of good tags on those colored units. The other one is another blue team. This is my other main staple. Now this one I do rotate out between attacker and defender, so right now it is an attacker mode. So I have attacker, Straw Hats, Zoan, New World with a good chunk of Grand Line. Straw Hats I think is a phenomenal support, so this is one thing you should try and go for. Reduction of critical damage is huge because that thing will hurt. So trust me, when you're getting hit by an 80k damage from Yamato, I mean, it's probably not going to save you because it's only cutting off 30% of that, but like, it still can go a long way, especially when you're getting hit for a 10k basic attack from Ace Yamato. This is going to reduce that significantly as well. So those are my main supports. So if you would like to copy those, that is an option. My red support's obviously not the most insane, but we'll get into some other options that I have and can build here right now. Okay, real quick, I do want to mention a little fun fact about light and dark units. For those of you that are unaware or a newer player, light and dark units give an extra bonus. So red for a red unit gives like a regular amount of bonus to it as compared to using like green for a red character. So that's something you should know, is you want to use the same color to support the same color units. You get more percentage out of it. So when you're using light units actually give more percent increase to other light units rather than just like a red unit supporting another red unit. So you will know you get this little fun little feature that you got here. Sing! Boom! You can see that. So notice how the arrows are bigger for the Zoro as they were the Luffy right there. That's because Whitebeard's contributing much more support towards the Zoro than he is the Luffy. As you can see, the Zoro has higher percentage support. So just keep in mind, you are limited. As of the moment of this video, there's not very many light units in there, and it only does that arrow thing for like the level 100. So wait, oh, it does it for anyone, I guess. Just kidding. I guess it's just light for light. But yeah, it doesn't do that for reds, I can tell you that. Or any of the base color units. So it's only light and dark units that it does that. So light units, you are limited, but I do think with the amount of percents that you get, it is worth it to use these units. The tags on these characters is not that great in general. So you get like a bunch of random tags. So I guess I got 2 defender, 2 attacker, some Whitebeard pirates. So if you want to stack on top of those and finish those off, you can do that. You still have 6 other slots here to work with. What is that? Yeah, 6 other slots. So you can do that if you would like. That is an option. So light support is a way to go. And same thing kind of goes for dark units actually here. So let's work here into the dark units. Get rid of light, go into dark. Boom. You're not very many dark units, so we're probably going to be getting a lot more. I am missing Pacifista. I do understand that. So we are missing 1, I believe, is the only one we're missing out on. So same rule goes for this. So like you got that. You got the dark arrows. You can see. So let those arrows be an indicator of how much boost they're giving your characters. So just a little fun feature for you. And as for light and dark units as of this moment, it is recommended that you use the same colored units. But you're not going to have that many options on top of that. So just getting that over real quickly. Here is another example set that you guys could run, something like this. If you guys are going, I do want to throw out their general recommendation is, if you're going for 6 tags, I don't think it's worth giving up more than about 8 to 10% of your support percentage in order to get this many tags out there. So if you're just going for 6 tags, don't give up. If you're going to be at 160 without having the 6 tags, but if you try to go for the 6 tags and it drops you down to like 150%, when I'm saying 150, I'm referring to these little percents down here. I don't think it's worth it to go more than like 8%. So it's generally not worth it. If you're giving up like 5%, sure, that's fine. You're golden. Go ahead and do that. Because sometimes you just have to, based off like either a different color character or something of that sort. So this is just a good example of like when I was talking about worst generation. You have so many worst generation options for red. You have all of these characters. So Zoro's pretty solid. I would say there's no reason to ever use Zoro over top of Luffy's. Generally focusing on Luffy's to max. Zoro you can just use to play as. Luffy's are really fantastic support, so always leveling up Luffy's and Choppers are your #1 friends when it comes to supports, and those are ideal and optimal to have when it comes to all of that. So keep in mind this Egghead Luffy is a Zoan, so that one's out there, but look at that, 1 2 3 4 5 tags. I believe there's a set that you can even get up to 6, so there is that option too. So you have a variety of different things that you can do. You do have a couple different routes you could go when it comes to Navy. I really don't think Navy's that big of a deal when it comes to support. So if you're running something like this, it does say it's lower, but that's only because all my Navies are not level 100. So you're missing the S-Hawk there. It's just the 6 one. So if you see it, you see how it says 6 tags, but it's not all the way up to the 600. It's only because your character is not max level 100. That's the only reason why it does that. Boost does not matter. So you have things like this. This is an option if you would like to run Navy. You can build out that support. Navy is actually decent for like keeping yourself on the treasure. You reduce knockback distance by 60%. It can help you out depending on the circumstance that you're going for. So if you're playing something like a defender, this is an option. So you can go that route if you choose. And Red honestly has a couple of kinks with having just 3 tag limitations. As you notice with my supports and stuff in general, like this is my main stuff. Honestly, Zoan, I think is the most overpowered. I would focus on going Zoan for each individual color as it helps you survive a lot. 15% damage is no joke to scoff at, and I think it's tremendously useful. Now keep in mind, since there's 2 colors you're weak against now, you're weak to light color, and you're weak to whatever color. So for red, we're weak to blue. So we're weak to blue and light colors, which is actually a good amount of those out on the map right now. So Zoan's almost a must-have for like red units. So I strongly recommend focusing your red units. We're going to get a lot more Luffy's coming up that are going to be Zoan tagged. So that is an option too. So focus on leveling up those Luffy's. He's an ideal summon if you're thinking about summoning on a Luffy and you like kind of want him, kind of don't. I mean, he's worth it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, you guys, here is another actually kind of insane support that I just thought of actually building this out. We're going to pretend this little blue monster chopper right here is actually Onigashima Chopper because I do not have him. For those of you that don't know, Onigashima Chopper, I don't have. There's a couple units I don't have, but this one actually shares the same traits, the same specs as that monster chopper. So they're both New World, they're both Zoan, they're both everything else Straw Hat Pirates. So like they pretty much have all the same tags. So this is actually a really viable option. You have all those Luffy's coming in with the Zoans that are stepping up too. We have Captain, Attacker. How many even tags is this? Captain, Attacker, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's only 5 this time. And then you have a couple 4s in there too, which is actually insane. So look at how many tags that is. It's actually really solid support. So as I said, Choppers, Zoans, Luffy's. those are the main go-tos and items that, like characters that you're going to want to level up. And besides that, potentially warlords or your navies. I would say those are the big topics. Those are generally the ones that I recommend focusing on first if you're trying to build up your support and get something going for your account. You can focus on Whitebeard Pirates if you like. That trait is specifically niche for certain units, like so someone like Egghead Zoro. If you're trying to play this Egghead Zoro, he actually thrives on being low health and below 50% health, so something like a Whitebeard Pirates tag would actually go a really long ways. It really is niche and based off what your characters, so you can focus it. If you're really big Zoro fan, you can go and try and build out all the other Whitebeard Pirates. You can see which characters are applicable to it. So he is a light unit. You don't really have very many light units to work with. You got the 2, but you can go with that, and maybe we'll get more light Whitebeard Pirates in the future. Honestly, I don't see too many Whitebeard Pirates coming in the future at the moment, but we'll see what happens as it is. So you can always use those other colors. Remember, step ups are easier to hyper boost, so someone like this Mace right here is relatively easier to use, or Arco I like to call him. So that is an option. I think this is actually really phenomenal support. So green and blue seem to have really good options. Red has some decent solid ones as well, but I think green and blue are kind of surpassing red at this moment. So those are some choices if you would like to build those out. All right, you guys, in order to not make this video too insanely long, I'm going to cut it here. If you have specific things you want to ask, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. I think I could talk about support all day long because there's so many different combinations you can do. But I definitely think, as I said, Luffy's, Choppers, and your Zoans as a whole are probably what you should prioritize as you're building your characters out. Try and get full attackers, full defenders, and runners are niche scenarios, not really as useful as a tag depending on what you're playing, but I think generally attackers and defenders are your go-to and your better support options. So I hope you guys found this video useful. Be sure to like, follow, and share down below, and don't subscribe to me because I don't need it. But that's all I have for you guys. I'm Romanpuss. I'm going to be taking off. Yeah, holy peace, beautiful people.